Yo, what's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 239. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
What's up, people? How's it going?
Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Carlos Romero.
Yo.
Brian Manjoma.
I like how people are surprised that EA are a piece of shit.
We're going to get into that later on. Adam Vale.
What up, Earthlings?
All right, and we got a very special guest tonight. I'm just going to call you what I always call you, Big Mike in the house.
What's up? Are you good?
I'm good,
you
Mike.
Good, Carlos?
You good?
Yo, Mike, you good?
Oh, man. All right, we're going to get to it. Yo, Mike, okay, officially, is this your first time on Throwdown? Because I know you've done, like, other things with us, but, like, on a main Throwdown.
This is the first time I've actually been on Throwdown with you guys.
That's crazy because I've been on your podcast like what 3 times already and shit.
Yeah,
4.
Right? 4. Damn. Well, I mean, all of us together, we've been on for a while. But before that, speaking of a podcast, I want to give a quick shout out to the ARG podcast. Me and Chris were on the last night's episode, which is actually going to be airing for you guys now. We were talking about Panzer Dragoon, man. That was a lot of fun. Chris, that was your first time with them, pretty much, on their show.
Yeah,
right?
man, it was a good show.
Yeah, man. It's funny because like. It's the first time, but it felt like the 50th time because we did all the E3 shows with them. You know?
And we have them on the show pretty regularly.
Yeah.
So hey, they got a double Throwdown whammy then. So they had me on for Contra and to talk about random stuff, and you guys the following week. Nice.
Yeah. So we got to geek out for 2 hours about Panzer Dragoon. It was glorious, man. And there was other things in there too.
Fantastic.
Yeah, dude, it's awesome. But anyway, Mike, since this is your official first time on Throwdown, we're gonna give you the same treatment we give everybody else. First, you're gonna tell us how you got into gaming, and then that leads into what you're doing now with gaming and all that.
All right. How I got into gaming is I first started on the TAR 2600, man.
Damn.
And I've been ever since, gaming since TAR 2600. I went from there, bought my very first console was the Nintendo. And from there, I moved on to the Sega Genesis, the PlayStation, and just been gaming ever since.
Well,
Mr. 6,000 hours over here.
Damn. Yeah, we talked about you on the final episode of last year. We're like, yo, how the fuck did this dude put 6,000 hours into a gaming last year? This is crazy. But what were some of your favorite games from, when you were growing up?
Some of my favorite games would have to be Final Fantasy series. I've always been a huge Final Fantasy and Shining Force fan of RPG games. Great games.
Did you like 13?
Final Fantasy 13?
Yeah.
It was all right.
Okay, I'll take that.
It was all right.
Yeah. By the way, going back to we did we talk about Tifa before the show or after the show, or during the show? I don't remember anymore. It's all blending together. Did we have that conversation before we started recording tonight?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, we didn't have it during the show. So, because I was saying, like, you guys heard us talk about it 5 minutes ago. It's like, Tony, they don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Anyway, I'll save that joke for later. Just remind me, I got a Tifa joke. And ethics. Jesus. Yeah. So, and Mike, what's going on with you now? Like, because you work for a site I used to work for, which is very interesting.
I'm a community manager over at Dual Shockers, and I also do a podcast with the Platform Podcast.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't know how, if you could get into, how did you get involved with Dual Shockers? I know you've like you and Al, you've talked on Twitter for a while. Is that what like started all that? Yeah,
basically Al and Scott Meany over there is what he goes by on Discord, in their Discord server.
Yeah.
And I just continue sharing their articles and stuff on my Twitter and plus their Facebook, and they're like, would you like to be a part of us?
Nice.
I was like, sure, why not?
That's awesome. And then I got to learn about the platform. How did that all get started?
It started all back in original group called Hard Knock Gamers, and I met Danny and a few of our podcast members. And I was like, look, I said all these got all these podcasts and stuff. I said I would like to do one, and so Danny threw one together, and we brought some people on, and we've been a family ever since, and we've been growing.
That's awesome.
We go live every Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, or 10 a.m. Pacific, your choice, wherever time you want to catch us.
Nice.
Yeah, and you guys get wild in that show sometimes, man.
Oh yeah, we do. We get wild and we take lives and spin the wheel.
Wait, what is this, Thunderdome?
Oh, yeah.
Break the deal, spin the wheel.
it gets wild. Like last week, I lost all my lives on the show, and they had to spin the wheel and face the wheel of doom, which I had to get up and dance bachata.
Oh shit!
Oh man, you did some bachata?
Well, my buddy Primetime, it's in the chat. He says that dance looked like unflavored chicken, unseasoned chicken. I was like, it's good then.
That's funny, man. All right, yeah. So, Mike, we're glad to have you along. So, and obviously, here, man. Yeah, man, definitely. And since this isn't your first podcast, you know how to comport yourself because we've had some guys on the show. I'm not gonna name any names, but I'm like, yo, have you never heard a podcast before, motherfucker?
Yeah, it's that deer in headlights sorts of situation where they're talking all while we're off there, but as soon as we go live, they're all like quiet.
They're quiet.
Or the opposite, where it's like, yo, shut the fuck up when someone's talking. That's the worst one right there. Oh damn!
Right there. Primetime saying he's my buddy. He's on the show also. He has a straight up unseasoned chicken thighs.
Oh damn, yo. All right. We're okay. I'm gonna add this Tifa thing because I got some jokes to say.
I mean, you got the funnies, man.
Excuse me.
I got some funny jokes.
All right, let's get into it, man. So we got to talk about our featured topic, our favorite person, Mr. Phil Spencer, man. This
Uncle
dude,
Phil.
What's up with Phil? How's he doing?
He's doing good, apparently, man. So he's done a lot of interviews in the last couple of days, which makes sense. You know, E3's over. You know, he's got something to say. But so we're gonna go through some of them. But here's the biggest one, right? Our feature topic, obviously. He says that the business isn't how many consoles you sell. So he's basically saying console sales don't matter.
Well, I mean, here's the weird thing about it. Slightly right. You want to know why? Because like every single console in the beginning essentially takes a loss, right? Because they're selling it for lower than it already is. So what are they making the most of their money on? They're making it off the games.
Yeah, but if you don't have the consoles out there, then no one's buying the game.
Yeah, you need the market share.
That's exactly. That's like, so if you're like, but you know what? He's right. They don't matter because if he's basing everything off of just the service, then yeah, you got PCs. PCs are everywhere. So.
Well, that's what he's going by. He's like, they got all these services everywhere that console sales don't really matter. But I have to address the elephant in the room, though, man. Like, would he say these statements if Xbox was the number one selling system? I don't think he would.
No, he wouldn't. No, he would not.
No, come on.
What's the point? Like Manny said, like they sell at a loss, but every console they sell is sort of a vehicle for their service. Yeah. So it's important in that aspect. But like how Adam said, it's like they're veering towards the service. Like they don't really care about consoles anymore. They want to be on PCs. They want to be on Switches. They want to be on PS4s.
And that's what they're aiming at. And that's how he can get away with saying those type of comments. Because if it was anyone else, let's say if it was just another, I don't know, Sega, and all it was Sega, they wouldn't be able to get away with it. But since he does have, meaning Xbox, Microsoft, they have services and they're pushing it on every platform under the sun, then yeah, he can get away with saying it because they're like, all right, well, you got other plans. It's all about the games and distribution, and you have other means of distributing your games. Yeah, it's not all about the console. So,
but if that's his attitude. And right now, then why should anybody buy an Xbox?
Nostalgia.
That's going to sell it.
$500 nostalgia.
No, there you go.
Fuck out of here, man.
I was saying the same thing. I was saying the same thing when he said this. I was like, look, if you're going to say, you don't need the consoles and consoles don't matter, and you're going to put everything on every device, why am I buying the next Xbox? I'm not. I'm going to go invest in a new PC, man.
You see, exactly, but there's a lot of people that just don't care about the whole PC thing.
I know.
So I think they'll keep making it as long as those people keep buying it. But as soon as they see that the console just sort of fade out, sort of like how we've seen other things fade out in time, and they're like, all right, well, there goes that. Then don't worry, by that point, everybody will have Game Pass on their phones or whatever, and they're good. They moved on.
Yeah, it's just interesting to hear him say that. It's like, yo, if you were selling more consoles, you wouldn't be saying that. And Manny, going back to what you said, like that is true in the beginning, but 6 years into a console cycle, that doesn't really hold much water.
Yeah, definitely. He's saying he's essentially saying what's going on. It's like they're not worried about the console anymore. They're really worried about their service. Now the thing is, it's like if it's going to be now. with all the services out there, I mean, that's going to be a little bit difficult because I mean, every single person under the sun's got some sort of service that they got, you know. And I think it's a bit the same problem with like, you know, TV like services. It's like, okay, now everything's sparsed out into its own environment, right? You know, Netflix, you got Warner Brothers has got one, Disney's got one, you know, everybody's got all these things. And then like, yeah, they're like maybe $10 or $7 or something like that a month.
14
or 14. What was it for Netflix right now?
Netflix 14. Ubisoft, Ubiplay is going to be 14. Some of them
you play.
You know, but then at the same time, you got Disney talking about $4.99 when they launched theirs.
Oh, is it $6.99?
Is it $6.99?
I think it was $6.99.
Because I know they want to be the cheapest one out there.
The old Netflix price.
Yeah, Netflix is their price went up a lot.
Yeah, but I mean, I think with all these different sparsing out all these different services, it's like everybody's locking everything behind something, and I'm like, I just want to go to. I don't want that sort of thing to happen where like you can't go to a store and just pick up a game because I don't want to have to pay for some stupid service just to go and play a video game.
Yeah, that's the fear. People are like, oh, they're gonna lock exclusive content. Forget about the content. How about a whole damn game? Let's say you want the next, I don't know, Call of Duty or something. And like, oh yeah, you got to get the Activision service. All right, I don't want that. Oh, guess what? You can't get this game. Are you kidding me? No, we're not kidding. This is how this works. You know, that's going to be messed up. And right now we're heading in that direction. If all these services take off and people start subscribing and the money's there, it's going to happen. They're going to make it a bunch of games. In fact, we are seeing that already with Game Pass. These some of these indie titles, they're just available through Game Pass.
Yeah.
I think they give you the option to buy it, but it's still through Game Pass. So
I still find it interesting that this comment is still being spread out on the eve of pretty much announcing their next console.
The next console. Yeah. That's kind of like a horrible like slap in the like. They're literally go to E3 and say, "Yeah, we got the new consoles, the new hot, it's going fast, right?" But then at the following week, he's like, "Yeah, console sales don't matter."
Yeah,
it's a lot of mixed messaging there. So
what'd you call me?
Oh shit, my bad. Yeah, you know what? He's right. Yo, Tony, edit that shit out after this.
Yeah, right.
It'll be my real one.
Yeah.
Well,
go ahead, Chris.
The other issue with this is, I mean, Phil Spencer's walking a fine line because they're trying to defer everything to like, oh, we do have the ecosystem. We're Microsoft, so we have Windows. But here's the thing: your ecosystem also has Steam and Epic and software developers could go with partner with them. Why, if you're making a PC version of a game, why should I go through Xbox to get it? And then the second thing is like, like you said, he wouldn't. This statement would be completely flipped if they were the leader right now this generation. There were 90, 100 million consoles in the market. To be like, oh, Xbox is the best experience and the exclusive, but that's not the case. So he's trying to deflect. But I think that's a mistake. I think you're going to hurt the Scarlett in the long run because you don't give anyone a reason to buy it. Like, well, if you're a service, I have a gaming PC, so I don't need that. And secondly, like the whole point of building an ecosystem is that you have exclusive stuff to your system. It shouldn't just be about games and live services. Yeah, you service PC and the PC community, but you need to give Xbox owners a reason to keep playing. He said that in the interview. It's like, oh, if they have an Xbox One and they're enjoying buying the games, but when you say shit like that, why should they keep buying the games? Why wouldn't they go somewhere else? Why wouldn't they just go, oh, I could just get this on PC and never play this thing again and sell it, or I'll just go to PlayStation, or I'll just play on the Switch, whatever. Like to hold the things in your ecosystem means you have to have exclusivity. That's a thing that Apple plays that game constantly. Like if Apple were to, if Tim Cook came out and said, oh, you know what, really, it's I don't care how many MacBooks we sell or whatever, it's all about the software. So then and then he goes and puts Final Cut Pro on Windows or whatever. Then there's I don't need a Mac right now. Okay, you're just giving me the software that I want to use. Okay, I'll just use that on PC and I'm fine. I never need to give you a dime, and Apple would collapse. You know?
We need to know how many subscribers, Xbox Live Gold subscribers they have, because that's the only way you could swing your ding ding the way he's doing it. It's because they must have millions that they're like, yo, all these guys are already vested. So we have them. monthly.
Yeah, but they don't need to do that on PC. So why wouldn't they drop off? Like, you're paying $60 a year roughly for Xbox Live, but why are they paying for that on PC? You don't have to pay for that. Yep. So why they go? Hey, not only I saving money on a system, I don't need the subscription.
Yeah, I think it's just the ecosystem. It's just like I said, just with the subs and the friends, and they're thinking right now they'll test it to see if that's enough to keep people engaged.
No, but you need you need an exclusive way to experience that stuff, and they don't have that. They don't. Like, if Xbox was the way they had to experience those things, and now he's like, nah, that doesn't matter.
Yeah, I want to read a quick comment, and I got to do a shout out first. Gamer Tag Radio in the house, joining us in the chat.
Shit.
Shit.
And I don't know if it's Danny or Paris, but love all those guys. So they go Game Pass Ultimate. That is the ultimate Trojan horse to get PC players into the Xbox ecosystem. It's a good point. What do you think of that, Chris?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's the olive branch. I mean, it's cheap and gets them in, but then if they start raising the price of it, or they start tacking on stuff, it becomes like, oh, well, if we go up to $15 a month, you'll pay it, right? They'll try this gradual progression of pricing. I don't think it'll work.
It's $14 now if you do the whole thing monthly.
Right. If you do the whole thing
with the ultimate package. Yeah.
I think that there will be a lot of guys going, well, I don't, the Steam loyalists are going to go, I don't need to pay shit to experience games. Why am I paying you $14 a month for Game Pass? Like, I think there'll be a lot of pushback, especially with the sales that Steam and Epic run. Like, I don't know. The math doesn't add up on that platform.
I think they're just trying to see what sticks, and if people will stick around for some reason, whether it's for the ecosystem or certain games that they play, and they just get comfortable with the layout. There's always something. It's like with all these services. You say, I don't watch anything on Netflix. There's just one show I'll watch, and then that show's over. But then there's something that's recommended that's like that show, and you're like, yeah, why not? I'll stick around longer. Next thing you know, your sub is going on a year, and you only planned on staying for a month.
Right, but the statement also doesn't stick when your competition is doing the exact opposite. When Sony and Nintendo are releasing exclusives, like you can only experience this here on this system, then it's like, but then you say, oh, it's all about the software and services. Nobody else is doing this but you.
Yo, hold on. I gotta stop the show right now. Chris, think about it. It's not gonna be the way they're gonna market games in the future. This is an exclusive.
Yeah, right.
I think their way of pushing it is that the games that are part of this service, once they get the xCloud up, is that you can play them everywhere. That's going to be the selling point. It's not so much of like about the exclusivity of the games. It's just the portability, the functionality that I can play it on my phone and on my tablet, on my PC.
I know he's looking at Stadia because he doesn't mention it by name, but he mentions it in the interview. I know he's looking at that, and he's probably looking at stuff like Orion and shit, but that stuff requires you to have good broadband to work. Like, a lot of people are going to miss out on that.
You got to listen to his story where he talks about when he went to Africa and that he was in a cab and they had an LTE service in the cab. And he said, let me try it. And he connected to a test server, xCloud, back over in Redmond. And it worked, and he was playing Crackdown. He said it was kind of choppy, but it was working at 720p.
Well, I guarantee but he doesn't need to go that far. Go to areas of like Arizona or Nevada where that's impossible. We have that at home. Like, that's nice that he goes to an area of Africa that happens to have great broadband.
He said it was just LTE and a moving cab. There's no video. I wish he would have had a buddy film the whole thing, but he's saying it still works. That it can work on something.
Yeah, man. Video didn't happen.
Yeah,
so, exactly. We got to film it. That's what we were talking about before with those XXX films. You got proof, but we'll see what happens with it. I think it's true. I think that's what's going to happen, though. I think once everyone starts jumping in and seeing, wow, I'm playing my games on my phone, I got the control and stuff, and then when that month is up, they'll be like, well, there's still this function, and I get to play everywhere. I think that's going to be the selling point. It sucks for people that, like you said, invest money into the Xbox console, and they're not really getting the full experience if they're not using outside of it. But I think most people will.
Right. So, I mean, just to circle back, I mean, it's absolutely right. He wouldn't be saying most of this stuff if they weren't behind in this generation. Right. And he also said that that it doesn't matter if because the guy asked him specifically, like, okay, you launched X and you said this is the most powerful console in the market, and then 2 years later you're going to launch Scarlett and say that. It's like, well, how are you doing that? Well, how are people supposed to feel about that? And that's when he went into the whole, oh, it doesn't matter how many I sell or what I sell to people, but it does. It really does. Like you really hurt yourself. Like people only have a finite amount of money to invest, and they want to feel like they get the most out of that. It's not. He's thinking in this broad term, like, oh, we got cloud services, everybody's got Windows, and we can play it on your phone or whatever. And people are just, no, I just want to enjoy my console. What makes me continue to play this thing? And he didn't offer an answer to that.
I don't know. I think he's still following the strategy of like cell phone industry and how they do with their.
That's a bad strategy.
It's a bad one, but again, we don't see the numbers. I don't know. It's gotta be low.
They don't. That's another problem. How many times do I come on here and read the financials, right? They don't release them. Theirs are completely lacking. I don't have systems shipped, systems sold. I don't have anything. They don't in the report. They don't even call the section Xbox. It's just called Games and Live Services.
Right.
I have to hunt for any details about what's going on. So that's just suspect.
And see, I've said that before. I mean, when they were doing the Xbox 360, they were showing the numbers because they were doing well.
Absolutely.
They weren't afraid to show the numbers and the sales and what they were doing. But since this Xbox One, they're like, nah, we're not showing this. Nah.
They say stuff like, "Hey, look, 1,000 people are logged into Xbox Live right now." It's like, who cares? It's like this guy, the players drove 50,000 miles in Halo.
Yeah,
really?
There's all these weird statistics. That's like that doesn't mean anything,
We're playing.
They're talking about engagement, and then like that's all well and good, but at the end of the day, Sony could have like a quarter of that engagement, and then just pile on consoles that people are playing the games. Even if they play 10% of each game, they're still making more money than you are at that point. So it's like, it's not about squeezing engagement out. You also need to broaden your market space.
Well, we'll see. I think we have to see xCloud. I think everything rides on xCloud. Forget all the other consoles. Like he said, he doesn't care about it. I don't care about it. It's all about xCloud because I think that'll be it. I think if that could be the make or break.
Plus, on top of that, I mean, he said, about the Ultimate Game Pass. The first-party games are also going to be coming to Steam as well. Halo, Gears, they're going to be on Steam as well.
Yeah. So you're going to have that's a real incentive to buy that new console, right?
Exactly. That's why I said to myself, I was like, look, I'm not getting a Scarlett. I said, there's no need. There's no incentive.
Exactly. It's interesting, man.
It's just trying to convince people. Again, I get it. Where everyone's saying it's like, oh yeah, just get a PC. We can talk about it, but the average people don't think like that. They don't think about getting a PC and connect it to their TV. That's not in their mindset. It's always just been a VCR or a DVD player in a console. They're not thinking plug in a PC. Why would I do that? Log into Windows, do patches and driver updates and stuff.
I mean, most people are looking for the easy way to do things. The reason why stuff like Netflix works is because you just have one portal to go in there. You don't need to go into something else and go into something else and go into something else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
You just, you have your Roku box or you have your whatever thing. It's on your console. You just click on it and it works. And I think that's what needs to really happen with this stuff. I mean, you're telling somebody, hey, like, Xbox is the best experiences on PC. Most people don't want to deal with that sort of stuff.
No. Remember, and even Steam's tried it for a while with the Steam Link, that little box. They're like, oh, yeah, don't even have to move your PC. Just plug this in. And that still didn't take off. That's been decomp.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's move on. Another Phil Spencer story. Again, he's been busy. And also I want to give a shout out
Taking the rounds.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to GamerTech Radio. Because Danny was talking about how he thinks that the next Xbox is going to have a couple of different SKUs. And Paris, who's the guy in the chat, he's like, no, they're not doing that. Guess what? Paris is right. Phil Spencer confirmed there's only going to be one system, and he clarified his statement because he did say there's going to be multiple Xbox systems, which there have been: Xbox One X, the Xbox SAD, and the Scarlett. That's plural, So Phil wasn't exactly wrong either. But yeah, when the Scarlett comes out, that's the code name, by the way. That's not the official name. It's gonna be one system.
Oh, so I guess that means that it's gonna come with a Kinect.
It'll be. Don't worry. Carlos, it'll be built in.
It'll be built in.
It'll be a camera that watches you all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not really surprised by this. Like,
I feel like the SKU system was kind of a. I think it was also a little bit confusing for people.
Yeah.
I mean, granted, the pricing was right. Like when you had the cheaper Xboxes or Xbox 360, or you had the cheaper PlayStation 3, when so on and so far. I feel like just having one thing, and it just that's it.
Because it even hurt the PS3. The PS3 had 2 SKUs at launch.
The 20 gig? The 20 gig actually hurt actual gaming because some games couldn't install themselves onto the hard drive, so they had to do kooky shit like Metal Gear Solid 5 where they had to install sections of the game.
And it didn't have Wi-Fi either.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was going to say that, history has shown us when you release 2 different consoles at 2 different prices, it doesn't exactly end well for you because it confuses people. It's like, what do I buy? And, and then if you buy the cheaper console, you feel shortchanged. You know what I'm saying?
No, the worst was with Wii and the Wii U. And how many people were getting confused. You would hear all the time from sales reps from Best Buy and some people coming in, buying the wrong console, returning it. What's wrong with it? Nothing. I needed the Wii, not the Wii U. It's like when you wanted the new one.
Well, everybody, the name convention on the Wii U was a problem because obviously you call it Wii U, and then everybody thinks, oh, hey, the Wii U is just like a thing that attachment that you put on the Wii, and then it'll work. No, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. I mean, remember with the Xbox One, all of us were like, what do you mean Xbox One? I got that in like 2000. What are you talking about?
Mm-hmm.
It's confusing
everybody. Kept that name Durango. I like these names, Scarlett, Durango. Just leave it that way. Put a funny looking picture of a horse or some shit on it. I don't know. Just spice it up for me.
Fucking horse.
A horse. You press a button, it like winks at you or some shit. We're like, oh yeah, look at you, bad boy. You press a button. They make it. Think about it. We had the little sounds that they kept advertising when they did the rebranding of the Xbox 360. Remember the little small one, and they made a Gears one, and you press the button. I think it did the chainsaw and then the Halo. I was like, all right, if you could do that, you could do other things. Pimp your shit out, put all kinds of lights and stuff on it. It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, they made a Star Wars one that looked like R2-D2. And
just go that route.
Yeah, I have the Xbox One limited edition one that I paid $500 for, and it does the sound for Gears of War and everything.
See?
Yeah, but let me just read what Phil Spencer said real quick. He goes, last year we said consoles, and we've shipped a console, and we've now detailed another console. I think that's plural. So yeah, he's right about that. The sad edition,
It kind of sounds like an asshole, like Mark there. He's like, we released the console.
Yeah, and I'm releasing this fucking interview, prick. I gotta go.
He sounds like he's getting a little sassy. Whoever's on there, man.
Shit, getting saucy too. Fuck you,
sassy and salty.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna add this in. Yeah, I'm gonna add this one to the show notes. Unless you guys have anything else you want to say about this particular thing.
No, I mean, that's it's he said what he said. Sure.
Yeah, it's a smart move.
I'm just gonna say, what my friend Danny says. This guy needs to stop talking. He needs a better PR person. Just a person who does PR for him. Because he's not doing it. He's not cutting it.
And not only is it a good thing to do just one SKU, it's also a good idea not to name it an Xbox 2 or something.
Yeah. Oh my God, we don't need that.
You know what? They need to go back to the naming conventions. Go call it 720.
720.
Oh no, man, don't just steer away from numbers.
Yeah,
PlayStation did it right. They're like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 360, 720.
Now Microsoft can't go back though. They already called it a 1. What are they going to call the next one? 10.
Yeah, I mean Microsoft in general is horrible at naming shit.
Yeah. Windows 10. Let's skip some numbers.
I mean, I like Xbox. I like the fact that it just says Xbox and then add something else, like what they did, Durango and Scarlett. That's cool. I'll go with that. I mean, look at all the funny names that Apple gives their OS. What was it, Yosemite and all kinds of stuff.
Oh no, it was all cats, as I remember before. It used to be like
the next Xbox will be called the Xbox One and Done.
Oh, shit.
Shit. Next, you know, they start going with like actual pattern numbers. This is an Xbox 1.6.3.813. Yeah.
It's the hottest shit ever. You know?
Or they call it, they give it some sort of, fancy, like a letter at the end.
You know what? How about that? Just call it Xbox Hype,
Oh, no. I just thought of something. Oh, what if they just went with colors? Xbox Black. Xbox Blue.
Well, I mean, they already got the black side Xbox, right?
Oh, Xbox Green. I could see them doing something like that. It's simple. Go to the store and tell them you want the black box.
And you got to say it like that too.
Exactly. You got to say, I'll do it. I'll go in there. I want the black box. It's like, what?
Black like my soul.
Black like my soul.
Xbox, are you good?
Yeah, are you?
I really thought they were going to have the Xbox start talking like Alexa once they put Cortana in it. I was expecting that. It never materialized.
No,
Cortana's in it. He's in it, and you can talk, but it's not in that type of way. It's not like Alexa or Siri, anything like that. You still have to be very specific. But I really
Cortana's been pretty good on the PC.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. I thought I was gonna have conversation like, "Yo, what's up, Cortana?" Not much. I saw your wife cheating on you. What? I was like, "Oh my." What do you mean? I recorded for you. Plugging you. Let me show you. Oh my. No, not with Jimmy. No, not
Yo, he's doing stuff to her I never did.
Oh, Lord, I tried that. She kept saying no, but she does it with Jimmy.
No jokes. Xbox Black sounds like a good name.
Yeah, Xbox Black. Like I said, they already got blacks at Xbox, right?
Oh God, let's even go there. That was bad.
Oh man, it was the hour part that messed everything up. Our blacks at Xbox. What do you mean you're blacks, bro?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Shit. All right, another one from Mr. Spencer here. So he said that Xbox is not a free speech platform. That sounds bad as a headline, but if you look at it, it's like, okay, yeah, that actually makes sense. So he was basically he was basically talking about toxic people harassment and all that, and he was basically saying like, yo, you can't come into our system and start talking all this shit. We will ban you. I'm like, good, you should.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, you sign that. I mean, to be honest, you sign any one of those forms, as being part of Xbox Live and all this stuff. That's all in there.
Once you accept their agreements, the terms and agreements, right at the beginning of creating an account, it's in there. So that's why I hate. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
That's why I hate when people are like, oh, it's free speech. It's like, what do you mean? It's all private companies and service. Free speech? Go outside and scream in the street. There you go. But don't go on Twitter. Don't go on Xbox, PSN. Yo, I call this guy a dirty motherfucker and they ban me. Well, stop talking shit. Yeah. This is not your network. There's no free speech here.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's something in the user end agreement. It's like probably tells you not to do that. Now, granted, nowadays some people things that aren't bad, so I hope people don't get banned for shit like that. But if you're calling somebody the N-word or something, like, yeah, bro, you should probably
you're gonna get it. I mean, right. To be honest, I don't know where the confusion is on this situation. If you feel if you're saying whatever the hell comes to your mind, you're cursing at people, they do have the right to ban you. I mean, that's part of their service agreement that they keep updating every year or so. Yeah,
exactly.
Let's just be honest. Most places aren't free speech platforms anyway.
They're not at all. I just want to read what he said. He goes, I've been public about this before. Xbox Live is not a free speech platform. It is not a place where anybody can come in and say anything. And we and as we're working to ensure it's a safe and inclusive environment for everybody, I don't want to be opaque about it. I want to be out there front and center so that you understand our motivation. Makes sense. I do find it funny though, because there's a lot of let's just be honest, a lot of toxic like Xbox guys in the community that Phil and some of these others that have endorsed before. So hope he's stepping away from some of that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, to be honest, there's a big difference between a fan and there's another difference between a toxic fan. Yeah. And to be honest, most companies try to steer clear of those folks that are rile people up and do that stuff. Yes, you want to get people to officially having a fan base is almost like free advertising. They'll evangelize any one of your things. But when it starts to become venomous and stupid like that, you probably want to stay as far away as possible from that.
Yeah, I think it's safe to say that the old days of the playing online, those are kind of coming to an end. And like, remember Adam, and you would know this, and Carlos too, and Chris, it was like back in the day, man, it was the Wild West. Anything went.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh my lord! Shit, I remember playing Uno on Xbox when the webcam came out. These fools were pointing. They said their monitor showing porn. I'm logging in. I'm like, yo, you ready to play Uno? Oh no, what that? There's 2 people, 3 people in that video.
Yeah, it's like that's not Uno.
Not Uno.
This is not Uno. This is Mucho. But I remember logging in, watching. I'm like, wow, it went crazy, and we all know the thing. Even with the PS4 when they had the camera. And
I saw some crazy shit.
They were doing shit. The guys filming, banging his girl and the whole thing. I mean, people don't care. They're reckless. Especially start drinking and stuff. Bad things happen. So.
Yeah, I can't even tell you what I saw because that's how bad it was. Like, yo, people are crazy, man. So yeah, those days, that shit is over, people. They're clamping down on the internet.
Well, I mean, the thing is that, like, especially if you're paying for a service and stuff like that, people want to be sure that they're not getting attacked or anything on there. It is no Wild West, especially when this sort of stuff happens.
Yeah.
So. I used to know a guy who used to work the Xbox thing, and he just it was just a crazy stressful job because there's constantly different things they had to investigate and all kinds of stuff.
It's interesting. So Cortana better clean that shit up.
Well, I mean, that'd be funny, though. To be honest, that could also be part of it too. I mean, AIs that look for specific sort of language.
Yeah.
It's
possible now. I
mean, YouTube does it all the damn time.
Yeah.
Right.
Shit. Don't get me started, All right, so let's move on. We're going to talk about titties right now, people.
No.
We're going to talk about titties.
And now once you just said that, now we're not even going to be on
demonetized.
Demonetized.
Tony.
Yeah. Well, we already talked about gangbangs and shit, so I think we're already demonetized.
That's the last time I tell you shit in private, Tony. You just know all kinds of shit.
Excuse me. Yo, okay, so by the way, this is one of the. Hold on. Yeah. How many controversial? We're talking about a lot of controversial shit. I guess we just did one. This is the second one, and we got another one coming after this. It's been a crazy week in gaming, people. All right, so basically, if you guys saw the Final Fantasy VII remake trailer, saw Tifa. Everybody was happy to see Tifa. By the way, before I move on, quick aside: when I was on the art podcast with Chris last night, right? We were talking about Panzer Dragoon, obviously, and Dave was like, "Oh yeah, when we saw the trailer last week, we were amazed." And I was like, "Yo, that was last week. It felt like 3 fucking weeks ago." And I just had that, right, and I just had that happen to me now because I was like, oh yeah, we saw the Final Fantasy trailer last week. It's like, fuck, that felt like 50 years ago now. But anyway, so everybody, when the trailer was first shown, like earlier this year, people were like, what the fuck is Tifa, And then people were like, some people said like, oh, they're probably gonna make her titties smaller, So they showed Tifa, and indeed, her titties are smaller. She looks like Advent Children Tifa, which I kind of said she probably would because, and I'm just going to get right to the heart of it. You can't have a character that looks like that. Not because of like, oh, you can't objectify women, because it looks fucking stupid. Like you have this athletic chick and stuff, and she has these fucking bazongas. It's like it doesn't work, Oh, good. No, and apparently that's what Square Enix, said too. It's like basically, they said when they're working on the redesigning her, they're like, okay, we want to keep some certain things about her. We want to keep the white shirt, we want to keep the skirt, but we want to make her look a little bit more realistic and stuff. So they said they toned down on the breast size and they gave her some shorts. But what's interesting thing, if anatomy, she probably has like her normal, quote unquote, normal size breasts, but they would be smaller because she's wearing a sports bra, which if you're a woman with tits, you probably want to have a sports bra when you're fighting motherfuckers and robots and monsters,
especially if you're a well-endowed woman like Tifa is, right? it usually, like no tank top is ever going to hold that stuff, especially if she's punching people in the face and flipping around. So yeah, what they did is they gave her a sports bra to pull them in.
Yeah,
I think she would want actual armor also, because
well, you
got materia for that.
Come on, like most of their, in general, they're still animeified. I mean, like Cloud has one fucking shoulder pad. What's that gonna do?
Yeah. No. By the way, when I said the Advent Children thing, I was hesitant because this model actually has bigger tits than the Advent Children would. So, but what I saw was like, yo, you guys are kind of complaining about nothing, to be honest.
Yeah,
but,
I feel like
go ahead.
I feel like the outrage on that is kind of silly because she looks about the same. The only difference now is like she just has a sports bra on. And they put shorts, and they put biker shorts on her.
Yeah. By the way, I need to quickly say this. Let's just be honest. I'm speaking from personal experience. Like all the girls that I know with big tits who are not athletic, they still wear sports bras too. So come on now. But here's the thing that I found a little weird. Apparently, Square Enix has an ethics committee. And they're the ones that told them, like, yo, you got to clamp down on that. The ethics committee part is where I'm a little like, I don't know about that. Like, you have some separate, I don't know how it works, obviously, but I'm like, you have some separate department come in and tell the gaming developers what to do? That's a little weird. But then again, they could be the developers themselves, so I don't really know. And also, let's just be honest, something could have been lost in translation as well,
Wasn't it your friend? Wasn't that woman that you knew that worked there?
Which one?
That did that? That was, oh man, I forgot her name, but she got into the whole hot water thing because of some comments she made. But wasn't she part of the whole ethic committee?
No.
No. We're talking specifically about because I've never even knew
anybody at Square Enix.
All right, so I don't know anybody at Square Enix like that. Let alone anybody at the ethics committee, which is kind of. Let me just read this. In the Square Enix Japan studios, the ethics department, that's in capitals, ethics department is actually a group within the company that evaluates game content to make sure it is aligned with the anticipated age rating standards across the globe. So that kind of makes sense, though. It's like
it's essentially okay. So I used to work in, I was still working comics, but when I worked internally at Marvel Comics, we didn't have a comics code authority person there specifically. That's essentially the ESRB of comics, right? But we did have an internal person who looked at the age rating and looked at the different things and said, okay, this is what we can and can't do. So it was like, in other words, it was a sort of self-policing because obviously this game is a T for teen game. That's what they're trying to hit for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they're probably looking at it and like, okay, to get for these sorts of standards in Japan and all these things, we're trying to get this all across the board. So we're going to have to, change these certain things around to kind of get that sort of thing. Because if you don't know, in Japan, mature games are not allowed to be commercials for them are not allowed to be shown during prime time like they are here in the States. They are only.
That makes sense. That actually does make sense.
So yeah, when you get an mature game, they only are allowed to. They're not even allowed to advertise them on there. So that's why everybody wants to kind of hit that sweet spot before the M rating.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Japan.
I don't really. I mean, again, it's a little weird, but yeah, you kind of do need somebody who's like, yo, this is a T for teen game, chill out. Even though I don't think they were trying to go for anything crazy. I don't expect a lot of blood or anything in this game. But then again, what are you doing? You're fighting monsters and shit for the majority of the time.
You're fighting monsters, and you may get a little bit of blood here or there. I mean, to be honest, like Bloodstained Ritual of the Night has a T for teen rating, but it's got a thing for blood. On there. So I mean, there can still be blood in a T for teen game. It's just there's certain content that just needs to be toned down, and I definitely think that being that this is not the 90s. Things that were appropriate then are not exactly appropriate now. So they probably want to keep it within those lines of the standard. But to be honest, I looked at Tifa. I was like, looks like Tifa to me, and I would call it a day. I mean. They changed her gloves around and they put some extra stuff on her, but she still looks cool and she's still my favorite character in the game.
Yeah, hopefully this one will have a different ending so you can get with her instead of Aerith.
Yeah,
Tifa's cooler, man. Fuck that. Tifa's the.
I'm gonna bring up. Here's no, this is nothing to do with it. But like, if you think about it, like if you think about the story of Final Fantasy, there's one thing that makes absolutely no sense. Okay, that guy Hojo, right? He wanted to breed Red 13 with Eris.
Ooh.
I'm like, what? Because they are the last of their kind. This is in the game.
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
The image I have in my head right now should not be seen by children.
It should not be seen, but that's what he wanted to do. I'm like, wait, what?
Oh man.
But yeah, I think the game looks. I played the game at E3. It was pretty fun. So I'm willing to give it a try, even though I was a little bit reluctant because it wasn't turn based.
Yeah, what are you gonna do, Mike? What's your take on this, bro?
I'm definitely down for it. But like y'all said, Tifa looks fine. When I first saw her and showed her at E3, I was like, she looks like Tifa. Then when you look at Twitter and everybody are like, oh, she don't have enough big old titties and stuff. I can't play this game. I'm like, quit crying.
Oh, come on.
Quit crying. Come on. Get over yourself.
Shit, if that's what they're concerned about, they're really not, playing the game.
Yeah. Like for me,
they're down there living in their mama's basement and fapping.
Yeah, I was like, I was too busy looking at her doing uppercuts and shit, than looking at her fucking tits and shit. It's like, come on, bro.
To be honest, if you think about it with her, right? Like, she is probably one of the most powerful characters in game. Everybody else has got swords and magic and weapons. She's the only motherfucker punching people.
Yeah, that's right.
She's running around.
Everybody else has got some sort of weapon. She's punching them and kicking them with her fists.
Yeah, so there you go. She's badass.
Right, she's the baddest ass in the game.
Oh man, they made her booty smaller. Oh man. All right, moving on to some more controversy, people.
What is this?
We gotta talk about Cyberpunk, man.
Oh,
we gotta talk about the Cyberpunk shit. I was debating whether we should do it, but we're gonna fucking do it. This is crazy. Okay, so there's a couple of things. So basically, Cyberpunk's been in trouble, from certain segments out there for a while. They're saying the game is racist, transphobic, all this other stuff, right? Specifically during E3, there was a poster that was shown in the game, and it wasn't advertised. It was just like somebody took a screenshot and zoomed in, right? Like it was like it looked like a female, right? With a really big fucking bulge, down there, and it was, and the advertisement said mix it up. So basically, they're trying to say, oh, you're being insensitive to trans people or whatever. And then, the artist, which was a woman, by the way, because they were saying, oh, only a man could draw this. Only a man could draw this. Woman came out and she's like, listen, we're trying to, show the fact that some of the advertisement in this world is fucked up. So they wanted to capture some of that. And then, later on, they I think it was Rock, Paper, Shotgun. They did a hit piece on the game, right? Saying that, it's racist, this and that, the other thing. So the creator of Cyberpunk came out, Mike Pondsmith, who's a black guy, right? He put these motherfuckers on blast. It was beautiful, but then they were still doubling down. They basically say, oh, you like, just because one of the writers is black, that means to get away with it. It's like, he created the fucking world.
He created the game, man. Like number one, like I can't point out the weirdity of this, where it's a bunch of white folks telling a black man, a 70-year-old black man, that he doesn't know what racism is.
The white man probably made him do it.
My man probably lived that shit. And and millennial, whoever these people are, I never even heard of their site before. Telling him what's right.
Yeah, I gotta read. Yeah, it's silly. I gotta read what he said. He goes, I want to say this just once. I am really tired of well-meaning people on internet chat boards paternalistically telling me what I, as a black person, should be offended by. You want me to be your ally? Go gird your loins at this year's Thanksgiving dinner. Have the nerve to tell your racist Uncle Bob to shut the fuck up for a change. Damn, Steven, damn.
One second. It deserves it.
Yo, I mean, Uncle Bob got a problem.
I see that man walking around. I give that man a pound right there. That's what needed to be said.
That was beautiful. That was beautiful. And of course, I said this earlier. I gotta give a shout out to our boy Paris Lilly, who is obviously defending all this. He's like, yeah, like, why are you telling this guy what the fuck to do? I don't know if he got attacked for that, but again, Paris, if you didn't know, he's black too. And he's right.
Prove it.
Yeah. Proof it.
That's what they say.
But it goes back. It's like, yo, why are you telling people? Like, if I don't, it's like okay, if you know what, I'm not gonna get into it, but it's like, yeah, bro, he's telling you this. I think you should go with him over some stupid idiot at some website. And by the way, he deleted the comment. Of course.
Oh, that dude.
Yeah, the dude. Yeah, because he clapped back. He tried to clap back to Mike Pondsmith.
Yeah, Blake. It's like the dude. The guy created the game. I swear, and like the thing is, it's like, I don't understand. Like, and then they made some weird comment, like some fake person or something like that, or like,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, fake person. He created the fucking franchise.
Fake person, really? And the guy has been with the game, looking over the game, and they've been constantly talking to him about the game from the beginning. And and he's a fake person. He shouldn't be. Oh man.
Yeah, it's bad. So I'm glad because we get too much of that. These people that don't know, the franchises, don't know the context of anything. They go out there. They put these games and companies on blast, and then the companies just kowtow to them. I'm so glad that a creative person actually said, no, fuck that. We need more of that. It's crazy what's going on right now.
To be honest, I know he also understands that there's some things that also don't play that well in this day and age, and I'm sure for the Cyberpunk game they've changed things around. In fact, he does mention it in that same Reddit post where he's like, where the what was it, the Voodoo Boys, where they made this whole new dynamic where it's like, okay, obviously all the Voodoo Boys ended up being white, that the real like Voodoo folks essentially within a war between them, which is kind of cool.
Oh, hold on a second. I gotta read this. So this guy, he went after Paris and he deleted tweets. Wow, yeah, wow. He goes, he's a pompous asshat. I agree. Look at that. Wow.
Shit. Let me just go after black people and tell them what's racist.
Damn. Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, man, like that kid, that dude was digging his grave as soon as he said that silliness. Number one, if you're gonna clap at somebody, make sure you do your fucking research, guys. Seriously,
Google's your friend.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, the other controversy was this guy specifically was saying, like, oh, there's a group of people in the game called the Animals, and they're all a bunch of black people. Why are you killing a bunch of black people called the Animals? Like, and then Mike Pondsmith like, yo, they're supposed to be of every race, and they call themselves animals because they're vicious animals. He's like, the leader, who's a woman, calls herself Sasquatch. Mm-hmm. Come on, man.
And in fact, he said in the thing, he said he thought that would be a problem.
Yeah. No, but that wasn't the problem. It's wow, it's insane.
I mean, to me, it's funny because it's like there's one thing about like inclusivity. Like, as much as you try to be inclusive, you're still going to end up not being inclusive in some odd way. It's just the way that sort of thing happens. When you go out there saying we're going to be inclusive, at the same time, there's those points where it's like, okay, well, how come I'm not in there? How come this is not there? How come that's not? It's such a slippery slope, that term.
Yeah, I agree with Paris. He's like, as soon as Mike Pondsmith came out, those guys should have did something with the article, right? Like maybe even if not retracted, at least clarify the statement. No, they doubled down. Yeah. Of course, they doubled down.
Yeah, which happens with a lot of those sites where rather than actually going in and being like, oh, okay, explain to us by this guy that this is the way it. Like, in other words, they also could also again being responsible journalists. Okay, why wouldn't they have gone over to Mr. Pondsmith and talked to him about this stuff?
No,
rather than write this. Obviously because they're looking for this clickbaity bullshit article, right? To get people to click on it, right? Why didn't they go and interview him and say, hey, talk to him about these things and get to understand them and get other people to understand the crux of where these ideas have come from, rather than essentially shooting first and then, and then just dealing with the aftermath later.
Yeah, there's no money in the facts, man. Yeah, it's right. Controversy.
Which is interesting because a number of other people did interview him, including Yang. Yeah, he interviewed him. Oh, by the way, and also added to this, I forget the name of the website, but they were talking about Cyberpunk and they were praising the game, right? And apparently, guys like Jason Schreier went after him, saying, "Oh, why are you making it positive? Why didn't you ask him any hard questions?"
Mm-hmm.
Like, bro, they're just talking about how awesome the game is, man. We can't even do that anymore, really?
I mean, Jason, not everybody's going to be doing an investigative report into these things, Jason Strider. Some people just want to see a fun game.
You know?
I mean, they did do investigative reporting. They just did it on a game.
Yeah, they're just talking about the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it was Niche Gamer. I forget who it was, but basically they did a pretty long interview about Cyberpunk, and it was pretty, you know, like the usual kind of piece that most journalists do in gaming, you know, like
they ask a question, you know, like, hey, what is this? What's this? This looks cool. Usual, you know, sort of stuff. Yeah.
So and it's funny because these guys are obviously this guy, or I don't know how many people run the site, but they're not as big as Kotaku, obviously. So kind of fucked up that these big sites clamping down on a smaller site like that. You know, just because they didn't do things the way they would have done it. You know?
Why did they ask the difficult questions? Where's the fucking old Kotaku article about the difficult questions?
Yeah.
Right? I don't see that.
Shit.
No, right,
maybe they don't want to write any sort of scathing piece because maybe a place like CD Projekt Red will just cut them off and say, hey, you're not getting the review copy.
You mean like
a bunch of other sites did.
Like Bethesda, exactly.
Yeah, like Bethesda and a bunch of other pieces. Here's the thing: there are consequences for every single action that these places do. And if you decide you're going to write these scathing articles about specific things within the industry, don't be surprised if they don't provide you with a review code.
You know, but it won't happen to Kotaku because they're owned by IGN, and IGN's got, you know, connections.
Yeah, well, Bethesda's still not sending them anything. You know,
no, they're not sending them anything. Ever since they leaked all that shit about what game was that?
Which one was it? Because they've leaked so much shit.
They leaked something.
Was it Fallout?
Fallout. Anyway, yeah, they leaked the name of Fallout or some ending to a game or something like that they leaked. Well, obviously they're not seen as a trustworthy outlet, so they're not going to get it. So what do you guys got to do? Go out and buy the game like everybody else. I hate, you know, other thing I hate is like when sites say silly shit like this. We didn't review the game because they didn't send it to us. Who the fuck gives a shit if they sent it to you? Buy the game. Go to the store.
Go buy it.
What is there? A stipend? Every single fucking job has a stipend, right? So if you work in that sort of industry, what happens? You be okay. You know, they didn't send us a thing. No problem. I'll go buy the game, and then I'll send. You know, keep the receipt, and then you refund me for the game.
Yeah, if you really want to review it, that's bad.
And this is the office copy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. By the way, quick, Paris says it was Fallout 4. That was the game. Oh, and I forgot about this. Ubisoft cut them off too.
Mm-hmm. That's right. Yeah.
Oh,
you know,
for Assassin's Creed.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, with the phone, the train shit, right? Was it the train one?
The one that
some information got leaked, and
no, it was something else.
All right.
Yeah, it was something else. But
yeah, you know, it
was Far Cry.
Yeah.
Remember that shit?
Yeah, I remember that.
I think the thing about, like, when going back to the main topic is, like, again, why is, do your research, guys. If you're gonna start talking clapping back at somebody for something that they're doing or not doing, go in there and find out who's doing this, and go and ask them. Go in there and ask those sorts of questions. Hey, Mr. Pondsmith, what do you think about this idea and this idea? Don't you think it might be a little bit weird to be saying that sort of stuff? And then he can actually elaborate on that idea. Yeah. Personally, I would want to talk to Mr. Pondsmith about this stuff.
Yeah, especially nowadays, since when the world when he created Cyberpunk is very different than it is now. You know,
he created that
in the 80s. Yeah,
80s, you know.
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't know the answer to this, but do they have any black people in their staff to talk about these kinds of things?
Kotaku.
You know,
yeah, right.
Or rock paper shotgun in this case.
I mean, yeah, maybe they should have if they have any black people or any people of color on their staff, maybe they should have also talked to them about it too and say, hey, what do you guys think of these terms? Do you think that these sort of things are problematic? And maybe, who knows? Maybe they'll be like, nah, man, ain't nothing.
Yeah, or they'll just put them on blast. Like, I don't know if you guys saw it.
I can see it going. now you're wrong, man. I'm posting this shit.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
well, because then there's also that side of it where they're looking for that sort of click. You know, a lot of and it's sad. A lot of the journalism, especially on websites, is a lot of this very sort of clickbaity sort of stuff where it's like, you know, they say one thing and then you actually read the article and it's actually nothing like the title.
Well, that's where they get their money now. You know. Mm-hmm. That we could do a whole show on that alone, just how you know how you actually do make money and how all these people that used to actually be credible journalists have to write these sort of headlines and write these specific type of pieces just to bring money in. It's crazy out there right now, man. You know. Oh man.
I think the whole thing is just pure foolishness. Like I don't see the people that are that are talking like that to be actual journalists. It seems like they are more just activists.
Yeah.
They have an idea. They want to just put that idea out there, and they don't really care about anything else. And that's it. Leave it at that. They don't do any research. They don't like look at things. They just say, "Hey, you know what? This is what I believe in. This is what I think is right. I'm going to put it out there to the world, and that's it." Like going back to Kotaku, there was that chick that wrote the article about the was it the Persona 5 song that apparently said the word retard, but it didn't, and then she got like a big huff about it. And even though that she was wrong, she was told that she was wrong, and they even apologized. They still kept the article up. It's like you put out something that was factually incorrect, and everyone corrected you about it, and yet the best you can do is just say, "Okay, sometimes we mess up." Like, really? No, that's a big fuck up. That's a massive fuck up. Like, at that point in time, you need to introduce some sort of policy to fact check stuff.
Yeah,
you know, that's.
Well, I mean, and the thing is that and then they also have the nerve to leave the article up. You know why? Because it's
still generating clicks.
Because it's still generating money for them.
Mm-hmm. People still want to read.
And you know, they put a little line through things. You know, you ever seen that? Or it's like they edit the article and they put those little like text lines through when the information is wrong. So because they don't want to change anything on it, and they still want everybody to clickbait into the article.
The best that I think I sent you guys this. It was recently at the E3 with the Q&A with the Gears voice actors and the guy who does Marcus Phoenix, John DiMaggio. Somebody stood up and asked a question about, what's the sexual orientation of the female character? He's like, who gives a shit? What's wrong with you? He's like, what, you just whacking off all day? What the fuck? He just went off on him, and people were just like going nuts. And he's like, she's a badass. She's in a fight. Who cares who she's fucking? That's not part of the game. I mean, shit.
Yeah. Oh, it was. Yeah, well, John DiMaggio he's like that. Like that's the dude who plays Bender.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. So, is she fucking a locust? It's like,
you see the guy. He just sits down. The camera kept handing him. He was like, with his head in and oh shit.
Well, exactly. It's like, you know, okay, you know, unless there's some sort of specific reason why in there that, you know, they introduce a love affair with her. Okay, yeah, but at this point in time, what is she doing? She's shooting the shit out of everything. Who gives a shit about what else is going on?
Yeah, see, Adam will go like, yo, does she do the roadie run? That's all you care about.
Yeah, exactly.
Is she down with double Dutch? Come on, like, how do we do the double? You know, what kind of tricks can she do?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, how's her roadie run? By the way, I saw Brett come in for a hot
I love the roadie run. Oh shit! Somebody told me. I forgot who it was. I talked to some guy. I blocked him right after. He was like, "Yeah, I like Gears, but I'm not a fan of the roadie run." I'm like,
yeah, you get the fuck out of
there. Exactly. I'm like, yo, the roadie run. He sent me a message. I thought we were friends. Motherfucker, we're not friends. I was like, that's it. That's the whole point of Gears. Gears was all about that roadie run.
Man, what's up, Brett?
Yo,
how you doing, man?
Yo. Hi, Brett.
Yeah,
I eventually made it.
Yeah, right. Oh man. Since we're talking about Brett, have you been seeing this whole controversy with Cyberpunk? We were just finishing our talk about that. Specifically, how the creator Mike Pondsmith came out and just blasted these dudes, you know, for talking all that shit.
No, I didn't actually.
Oh wow, okay, so we got something to tell you, but we're not gonna go over it right now. Basically, Rock Paper Shotgun, this website, they wrote a hit piece on Cyberpunk, you know, saying that it's racist, this, that, the other thing. Then the creator Mike Pondsmith, who's a black guy, just shut him down, made him look like fools. It was beautiful.
Just the even brief overview of like, I'm going to accuse a black game creator of being racist. Like, bro, pick your targets.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't. The thing is, I don't think I don't even think they knew that the original creator of Cyberpunk was black. I think they were just because they saw. To be honest, they see that a lot of the people that are on the team at CD Projekt Red are white. They probably did it because of that.
No, and they assumed, and see, that's. I mean, I'm not going to say that having a black project manager or anything like that, or a black creator is going to inherently make your product not racist. But I'm going to say that chances are that it's at the very least going to make it like not white hood wearing race. Like it's not going to be blatant and obvious, which leads me to kind of the question of if people making these accusations can make that kind of misfire, then really like how damnable are the offenses to begin with? Because I mean, I guess where I'm going with this is, and this is without looking into it, but if what I'm hearing sounds to be true, it sounds like it was one of those cases where they were pretty well caught just making shit up or looking for something to get upset about. And that really does not do it's not good for them, but it's also not good for any type of movement that they're trying to represent because it's undermining it. Does that make any sense?
No, I know what you're saying. No, they were basically talking about how, like, for example, there's this group of people in the game. What are the Creole? What's the name of the group again?
The Animals or was it?
No. Okay,
Animals.
Okay, that's one. Okay, so there's this group called the Voodoo Boys, right? Which are all a bunch of white guys, right? And that they're purposely in there to talk about cultural appropriation and all that, how fucked up that is. So that's one. And then the other one was like there's a group of there's this group called the Animals who style themselves as vicious, nasty animals. And the journalists were saying, oh, why are they all black? They're not all black. As a matter of fact, their leader is a white woman who calls herself Sasquatch. So and Brett, I got to read you what Mike Pondsmith said because it's just beautiful. So he goes, I want to say this just once. I'm really tired of well-meaning people on the internet chat boards paternalistically tell me what I, as a black person, should be offended by. You want to be my ally? Go gird your loins at this year's Thanksgiving dinner. Have the nerve to tell your racist Uncle Bob to shut the fuck up for a change.
Right.
That
is a beautiful statement.
I love it.
I just love hearing that. It's just what he just cut right to the point right there, man.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fantastic, And then the whole thing, Brett. What about the whole poster controversy with Cyberpunk? Basically, it like you see an advertisement, it like from head to bottom, it's a beautiful woman. Then you see a big fucking bulge down there, right? And the poster says mix it up, and the whole thing. And when people saw like, oh, they're trying to say this, that, or the other thing about trans people, and like, oh, only a man would have created a poster like that. Turns out the artist was a woman who came out to say, yeah, the poster is supposed to be fucked up. It's supposed to show you how bad capitalism is and all this other shit in the future, where they just take these people and just exploit them. It's like the whole point is you're supposed to be shocked by this, but context. Who needs context, right?
It's beyond that. Okay, brief side rant since I just showed up and I have a quota to fill. These guys are undermining the very essence of what is important about stories. And I've gone off the handle a multitude of times about the importance of story and culture. Like, story throughout human history has been one of the driving factors. I mean, fuck, even in innovation, even in technology, we dream ideas first, and then a generation later, we make them. There was this one story I remember hearing about where the FBI fucking came to the people who had made a Bond movie because they wanted the technology for the rebreather they saw in the Bond movie, but didn't realize that they hadn't actually created that technology, which incentivized other people to go and create it. My point is that stories here are important, and one of the fundamental things about a story is it doesn't always have to be right. It doesn't always have to be true. It doesn't always have to be feel good. Sometimes you'll tell a story that is shocking. Sometimes you'll tell a story about a character who's racist. A lot of times it's there to move the narrative along. We have to talk about taboo subjects in story because that's how we grow as a culture. That's how we're going to eventually win the war on racism, is honestly through story, through depiction in media, through normalization, through that kind of thing. And these people that want to come through and say that you can't put an alternate point of view in a story, even if it's a bad guy, even if it's a bad story, because somebody might relate to it, that's their fucking problem. If somebody relates to a bad guy in a story, it's probably because they're not a great person to begin with. And infantilizing all of story making and all of storytelling so that one person can't get that one idea in their head is fucking ludicrous. It's equivalent to book burning in its moral nature. Like, we cannot censor artists who are trying to tell cutting edge stories, especially, not just only, but especially if they make us feel uncomfortable, because that's the fucking point of a story. We're going to raise an entire generation of milquetoast, half-retarded people who don't know how to deal with any sort of adversity or even a single fucking argument or a different point of view.
Hold on, Brett. I got to stop you. There. Yeah, I was about to say, we're not racing. We've already done it, bro. You're seeing the end result, bro.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, but this is why. Let storytellers be fucking shocking. Some of the greatest stories throughout history at the time that they were told, they were pearl-clutching stories. You think Catcher in the Rye was as boring then as it is now? No, it was a good story at once. To Kill a Mockingbird, still a good story, but it's not fucking Game of Thrones. Like, it is a good story, and we've built on the backs of this, and we have improved our story making and tailor them to the audience that's listening. The world is different now. I'll agree with all that. But the best stories, the ones that we fucking used to teach in schools, had controversial ideas to them. So why is it that we're moving into, in what is, in my opinion, the most evolved form of storytelling possible, and we are choking ourselves off because we're afraid that somebody might get a dangerous idea or somebody might be exposed to something that they may not agree with? Well, toughen up, Buttercup. The world is full of shit that you're not going to like.
Right.
Yeah.
Well said, Brett. Well said.
Not everything is for everyone.
Yeah, well, not everything's not for everyone, but also, Brett said it there. It's like, how do we educate people about these sorts of things? Well, everyone tells somebody that something is wrong, but why don't we tell people why it's wrong? Well,
even in his tweet. Okay, like, let me further tangent. Let's go down the rabbit hole of this tweet. Instead of being an ally, tell off your uncle at dinner. Okay, that makes sense. Do you realize what a large walk it is to get a normal person of normal level intelligence to recognize that situation, plan accordingly, and then have the balls to actually say something? I'll give you a hint. It's fucking none. That person is extremely rare. But if you have these stories where they saw in a TV show or a movie where somebody stands up and says, you know what, this is not okay, it gives them a frame of reference. It gives them context. It validates the ideas that they're thinking. And that is a very important thing, because an unvalidated idea is often an unexpressed idea. There's a reason that people don't want other people with the same ideas coming together. It's the reason you don't want a Nazi rally to happen, because validation makes things happen. But that can be used for good too. And without that story, without that fucking sitcom sweep special about so-and-so standing up to somebody during Thanksgiving dinner, that idea may never be fucking put in your head, and that action may never be put into place. Like, we may just seize people up and give them the inability to move forward. And if we want to do it on a grassroots scale, like telling friends or family or whatever, that you need to stand up, that it's those small moments in everyday life that are the things that matter, that's how we're going to change the world, then that message needs to be broadcast through storytelling. And you're not going to do that by shying away from it.
No, you're 100% right, man. These people don't seem to understand. It's sad. So yeah, I don't think we're going to see the last of Cyberpunk controversy. It seems like it's just generating more and more of it.
It's funny. It's funny how the controversy is sort of like on a different side. Like, back in the day, Mass Effect used to be the most controversial thing out there, right? Where it's like the fact that there was sex in the game and all kinds of other stuff inside the game. That was a hot button topic at one point.
Yeah, from a different group of people, by the way.
A different group of people.
Which is hilarious, but both groups are kind of saying the same thing. So, yeah, it's crazy. Anyway, let's go on to the last thing here. We're going to end it off on a little bit of a lighter note, people.
Lighter?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So, Adam, I want to talk to you about a recent piece you did for the Coalition where you were talking about the arcade 1-up, but it wasn't a review of it, which was interesting. No. You really talked about your experiences growing up in arcades and your dad. So just tell us, all about that.
Yeah, so it was just recently. You see, I have a Pac-Man arcade 1-up, and it was something I was looking into picking up for a long time. But it has positives and negatives for me, just from my past, because it reminds me of my dad. My dad hasn't passed. It's just our relationship has fallen apart past 20, 30 years. So when I was younger, my parents divorced, and my dad would pick me up every weekend, and we had a little ritual. We'd walk around and stuff, get pizza and stuff, but we would always go to an arcade. There was Chinatown Fair. That was not too far from where my grandma lived. So we would go there and we'd play video games, get $10, $20 just playing video games and playing all the games there. But the one that I would spend the most time on was Pac-Man. And he would stand over to my left side, and he would like coach me through. All right, go here, go there, do it. You know? And it was great. And I always looked forward to that. And whenever we went to the arcade, even when there were newer machines that kept coming out, it was always with Pac-Man. So anyway, years later, things passed. Don't really talk. I haven't seen him in 10 years. And so I was really thinking about getting this Pac-Man machine. I was like, I'm going to get it. I'm going to build new memories. So once it arrived, my daughter, I have 2 kids, one of them 7. I was like, come on, you're going to help me. We're going to put this together. We assembled it. I made sure she was the first to play it. And I stood by her, and I did the same thing that my dad was doing. And I guided her through and tried to come up with a pattern and how to use the joystick, because she's not foreign to playing games, but just never on an arcade system. But basically, that was what I was trying to get with it, was just that there's different stories to these type of things. It's not so much about the nostalgia. It's what it represents from a time period and what happened around it. So it's not so much the game itself. It's everything that it represents. And it just so happened that it was this past Father's Day. And while we were doing all that, I did have a missed call, and it was my dad, who I haven't talked to in over a year. So over a year talking, and then 10 years of just not seeing it. And he just left me a voicemail saying Happy Father's Day. And that was a big deal for me. And I was like, you know what? Just the timing and everything. I said, let me call him back. I called him back. I didn't argue. I didn't go through the whole thing of our issues. I just said, hey, thanks. Funny that you called, and I brought up the Pac-Man, and that's it. We just kept talking about the good times. It was, oh yeah, I remember going there. Hell, I didn't even know that he was dedicated to Asteroid, and at the Asteroid machine in Chinatown Fair, he had like one of the high scores. Like he would always go out and that was his thing, trying to get up there. He loved Asteroid. So we started talking about that whole thing, and he was like, well, next time you come to the city, let's go to the arcade. It's still there. It's under new management. It's Family Fun Center and stuff, but and we'll get together. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like an idea. I mean, he has not met his grandchildren. So that's why it really turned into one of those type of things.
I mean, I would just say, like, it's like, there's one part of it where you give a review, but I always feel like a lot of times, and I've said this to Tony, like a lot of times reviews tend to feel like impersonal, and I feel like that's the human element is usually the thing that's missing. And that's one thing I really enjoyed about Tony's work, and also just the stuff that you do, Adam, was like you've always done work they've always brought it inward, or in other words, your reaction and your feelings on those things that those things that we all love, and how it affected you, and how it connects to things in your past.
Yeah. I mean, it's for me that it just makes more sense that way. So that way it isn't like, all right, well, what did they say on their website? All right, let me cut and paste. It's better to just have that connection with things. So and that was it. It got a great response, and I'm glad. A lot of people have these stories, and I just don't see them. And especially when it comes to these type of machines. And it's just like, if it's not just gaming, but it is for us, because we're in that generation. We were there at the beginning when it started becoming a mainstream thing, and now we're here. Our parents were not. So these stories can be told, but they're going to be told by us, people in the 30s and 40s. This is our time to talk, just like it was for the past generation, where they would do the same reflections regarding a car. Oh, grandpa drove this car and then he gave it to me, and then here's the story with that. Well, games. That's our connection. That was my connection with my dad. Everything else pretty much was shit. But damn, we had fun, and we could talk about games, and he worked on electronics. He always made sure I had the newest NES games, and that was our thing. So
yeah, it was cool, because I read it today, and I told Adam off air, my only complaint was I should have wrote more, because like I felt when I was just getting into it, it's over. I'm like, oh, where's the rest, But it was very different, because I went in there thinking, oh, it's a review, review.
No.
Something very different. It was just you telling, your what you just said right now, obviously, and that's why, because I saw Gary and Richard, they were like gushing about it. I'm like, yo, this must be the most epic review ever written by mankind. Shit, like a review that'll make you cry and shit.
Oh well, I was getting Dana was like, oh yeah, you peeling onions.
So it wasn't a review. It was just a little like snippet, but it's cool because one thing we do on Throwdown, and even though you did for a collision, but it's still the same thing. It's like we want to teach, like you said, teach the younger generation about this type of shit because they didn't grow up with it. Like you say the word arcade, it's like, what the fuck is that? They don't even know it. So it's important to get that shit out there.
And that's one of the things I had pointed out. It's like, because people are like, oh, it's nostalgia, especially when you start seeing these machines popping up. Oh, nostalgia. Oh, yeah, I get that. Oh, I remember seeing these things, and I have the ROMs. I remember when they were new. You know what I mean? I remember when it was the arcade, and that just arrived. I remember when Street Fighter 2 just arrived, and everybody gathered around it. You know what I mean? I remember these things, so it means more. It's not, oh, yeah, I remember download. I just remember when it was brand new, just like music. You hear what old-timey guys with the music. Oh, Frank Sinatra, I remember when, and that's my feeling. So I have more of a connection to these type of games.
So. Yeah, for sure, man. And then I'm gonna assume you're probably gonna do some more write-ups in the future.
Oh yeah. When it comes to those type of pieces, I'm still that's the review for the My Friend Pedro, which is badass. That's another one. Everybody should pick that damn game up. That's if you have a Switch, buy it. Just get it. You won't regret it.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, thank you for reminding me. Go ahead, Adam.
Yeah, but when it comes to those type of pieces stuff, that's something I do want to do because there's plenty of other things that I'd like to go into, so I'll probably do some of those.
Awesome. All right, actually, we got one more story that I completely skipped. Mike, thank you for reminding me about this, bro. This is
gonna be a good story.
Oh yeah, we're gonna end it on a funny note now, man. So you guys know about EA and the shit they got into over loot boxes, right? Well, now they came out to say, oh, they're not loot boxes; they're just surprise mechanics.
Oh, so they're changing the word around.
Yeah, surprise! We got your money.
Yeah. So, Mike, you can lead us off on this one, man. What do you think of this silliness?
This shit is ridiculous. That's what I'm saying. Look, I mean, you're gonna call it a surprise mechanic? What are we doing? We're going to charge us $10.99 to throw a lightsaber in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order? Come on, this is stupid.
Surprise mechanic, that's the thing. Like, officially, they never called the word loot box. Never actually came out until later on. Like, in other words, they never officially called it loot box within the game, right?
Right.
It's just a quick and dirty turn to kind of sort of explain what the thing is. So obviously now they're gonna just rebrand the word so that they don't get into any trouble, because obviously that shit makes them a lot of money and they don't want to give it up.
Yeah, now they said where they were trying to say, oh, it's like what kids were experiencing when they get little trinkets. They're not spending $100 getting FIFA Ultimate Team packs. You know what I mean? They're spending $1 or $2. These shits are super expensive. Yeah. Don't tell me this is a fun surprise to get a bunch of duplicate players after putting $100 in. No, that's not fun at all.
Now, one of the things actually said, even though like Fortnite is a free-to-play game, they said they're not making any money off these free-to-play games.
I thought Fortnite was making... Go ahead, Chris.
Because this was in... I think this was in the UK. This was in front of the House of Commons.
Yeah.
And you had reps from EA and Epic there. And they lied through their teeth, even though the guys in the trial said, we have the data here. This is obviously gambling. This leads to these things. We have the statistics. And they sat there and they're like, oh, well, because these are competitive games, we don't have the numbers for this. And the guy literally... who was questioning him was like, I have the statistics right here. We can measure this stuff. We can get it from analytics companies. You're telling me you don't know your own numbers? And they were so full of shit. And when that lady said surprise mechanics, they didn't the article didn't mention this. The guy started laughing. He laughed in her face.
Wow.
Oh, that is
surprise mechanics.
Okay, so can somebody clarify for me, like, I've read this several times and I heard about this earlier this week, and I've been baffled all week. As the first time I heard it, I was like, okay, this is like an Onion article. The second time I was like, okay, it's somebody making fun of something. And then when I realized it was an honest and true, meant to be taken serious quote, the biggest question in my mind is like, what is the context of this? Like, are you be like, surprise mechanics, like surprise, here's a new thing, or are you trying to very badly say that you're adding an element of randomized chance to your game? Because if you're trying to say the second and you're saying the former, you're terrible at talking. And if you're actually trying to say the former, you're just an idiot, and you think everybody else in the room is an idiot too.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Cause what's a loot box, right? It's a random thing, so that's why. Oh, surprise! You don't know what you're gonna get. That's what I'm saying.
Like, why didn't you say we're trying to add an element of randomized chance to the game, which adds to the game experience and prolongs longevity and playtime? Like, that would have at least been a bullshit way to spin. That would have at least taken you a second to be like, wait a minute, that smells like bullshit. This was just like the worst possible thing you could have called it.
Surprise mechanics.
Yeah. But they went in that hearing and they did not want to use the word gambling, and they spun themselves into a corner, because if you watch some of the questioning, the Epic guy was stuttering. He didn't know what to say. He forgot his own fucking name at some point in that hearing. He was like pissing himself. And the girl who says surprise mechanics, she was just all over the place after that. Like, they had them.
Well,
like,
I'm sure whoever at Epic and at EA was like, "Don't fuck this shit up, man. We make too much money at this shit."
Yeah.
Somebody got called into a meeting. Their boss put the paper down, looked at him, and just went, "Surprise mechanics." Really, Susan?
Yeah. Oh yeah. By the way, I didn't realize that
you're fired.
Yeah.
I would be surprised if she was on her phone like, "Yo, I need a buzz term generator. What can I call this shit?" Put in gambling.
Yeah. The fact that this happened in the House of Commons is what makes it even funnier. You know, it's like, okay, let me just read what she said. We don't call them loot boxes. We call them surprise mechanics. People enjoy surprises. It's been part of toys for years.
That's what you buy the toy and you get the mechanic. You don't keep buying into the toy. You know.
Hold on. Let me finish. By the way, let me finish, because there's actually more. Just think that grave a little more, man. Okay. All right. We do think the way we've implemented these kind of mechanics is quite ethical and quite fun. They aren't gambling, and we disagree that there's evidence that shows that leads to gambling, even though there is evidence.
Yeah.
God. I don't like to stab people. I just like to give them a free surprise knife.
Yeah.
How do you spin that? Yo, it's not murder. I just gave him the gift of death, and he accepted
it. I gave him a free bullet. Surprise!
Yeah, at a very high speed. Wow, these people. I'm just reading. This is insane.
It's not gonna fly.
I like how they're trying to spin it like it's like baseball cards. When you buy baseball cards, you get a piece of gum. Like, yeah, but you're buying the baseball cards.
Yes. Also, you're guaranteed to get a piece of gum.
Yeah. They're doing everything they can to keep this within FIFA and within Madden, because eventually, what they need to do is just have that Ultimate Team separate, and then slap on that. Hey, this is pretty much gambling. Because that whole mode, that's pretty much all it is. I used to play FIFA. I got hooked. I mean, for Ultimate Team, I got hooked for a long time. And then when it started getting ridiculous, where I couldn't get any of the players I wanted, and I had to go through these packs, I was like, I'm out. Because they purposely funnel you into that path of like, yeah, give us money.
Yeah, but now that FIFA has FIFA Street, you're gonna fall into the trap.
That's what I was thinking about too. They didn't really go into it, because they sort of said, "Oh, well, you're not going to just be playing when you play Street. You're not just going to be playing with your team outfits. You're going to have sneakers and jeans." It's like, oh shit, that's where the microtransactions. That's where the loot box is going to come in. It's like randomize to see if I can get a pair of like blue jeans or khakis or something.
Yeah, they're gonna do it the other way around. In other words, offering you like virtual items. To be honest, as long as I think the thing about microtransactions, the difference between microtransactions and loot boxes is like, okay, those things, if you have a randomized item, that's kind of cool. I think, that doesn't affect the actual play. Yeah, that's fine. But when you start putting all kinds of specific content on there, like, buffs for your characters, all kinds of other things, and you just like, there's like a 1% chance that you get this specific thing. I think that's when it starts to become troublesome.
Yeah,
Are you saying that you don't buy your clothes by buying a big box of randomized clothes from Salvation Army and then just hoping something fits?
All my all my clothes and toys and stuff come in loot crates.
Well, there are clothing subscriptions that will send you a box with random clothes, right? You've seen this. It's always being advertised. It's like, I forgot, $20, $30 a month.
They still give you an idea as to what the thing is. You don't know exactly what's going to be in there, but you they're like, yeah, this month it's Star Wars month, so you're going to have a bunch of really cool Star Wars stuff in there.
Oh, that's those things. No, this is just like regular clothes. Like they said that you go to the website, you document like your style and what you like, and then a professional. Yeah, and they'll send you pants
but you can still go out and buy a Ghostbuster shirt if you want a Ghostbuster shirt. You don't just have to rely on them eventually sending you one.
Yeah, exactly. And then the other thing is that, like, because there is a fair amount of like, preempting, where, like, in other words, you're kind of telling them what you like, you kind of tell them what, so it gets an idea as to what you're being sold, and then they'll send it to you. But if you don't like it, you can always send it back. But
see, I wouldn't mind loot boxes so much if it were like, hey, you buy this package that contains a cosmetic or an item or a weapon that you want, and it comes with a free random item that could range from anywhere from uncommon to epic. You don't fucking know. You'd be like, sweet, I bought this miner's cap and I got this legendary sword. Like,
it's like if you think about, it's the hologram to the Marvel card, right?
Yeah, that's fine, but they're selling you still. You're like, I hope I get a hologram card, but I know I'm probably just gonna get 10 cards, and I'm fine with that. Like, you're still buying the thing, and then here's a little surprise mechanic on top of it.
Surprise mechanics.
It's surprise mechanics, man. It's
we don't call it loot boxes.
It's horrible.
I was just surprise timing.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. I think that's gonna do it. Quick thing. We're gonna be back on our bullshit, people. Our Monster Hunter bullshit. The beta is this weekend. Brett, you already know what time it is, man.
It's the beta's this weekend already.
Yes,
yes, it is. Now, I think.
No, actually, no, not yet. 3 a.m. So, Brett, pre-download the game now, and you don't need the actual game, people. You just download the beta. That's it, and you play it.
Yes,
you get to play as your character?
I don't know how that works. That's a good question. Shit, I
probably not if it's a beta. It's probably just.
I think it's going to be like the last time where it just gives you a character.
Which is fine. Give me Monster Hunter.
But you know what? Remember what they did last time if you played the beta? You got a little special something for the regular game.
Exactly. So the beta. So basically, what I'm trying to say is we're going to go back on our streaming bullshit. So we're going to start Friday and Saturday, man. You already know it's going to be a lot of fun.
You hear louder and
yep. And we're gonna have Riku confusing Big Mike and Brett.
And Brett.
Shit,
I'm the one talking shit.
Yeah, exactly. There you go.
No, ask Tony. I talk shit through every Monster Hunt.
Yeah, and so do I. People like my shits because it goes from like, I'm gonna fuck you. Oh no, what the fuck? Oh yeah, I'm gonna fuck your ass up. Oh my god, we're gonna die. We're gonna fuck you up right now.
This is Tony when he's getting fucked up and he's running away.
Or I'm gonna die.
Yeah. And then I'm gonna fuck your ass up. I go through
I'm gonna go get 3 of my friends. I'm gonna come back at you.
Yeah. I have a lot of
emotion that you. A lot of emotion that you hit.
A lot of conflicting emotion. It's like up and down with a roller coaster for me, man. So, it's gonna be good. Yeah, Brett shit talking. Hopefully, get my cousin in there. You hear the voice of God. Why don't the fucking Japanese play better? Yo, remember that shit? He cracking up like, you guys are born kaiju hunters. What the fuck? Oh man. So, Brett, get ready. Download that shit right now, man. Ooh.
On it.
I'm already tasting it on my lips. It's so good.
Yo, man, you tasting that? What else you been tasting, man?
Man, are you trying to say we should talk about what games we've been playing lately?
Maybe.
I think we're gonna do that right now, people. All right. So what games have you been playing? And Mike, since you're a special guest, we'll start off with you. What games have you been playing lately, sir?
I've been playing Days Gone a lot.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Now let me ask you something. Did you go back to it, or did you continue it, or are you just starting? Like, how's that working?
I just started after I completed what was it? A Plague's Tale, and I've been loving it ever since I started the game. And
nice.
I can't put it down, man. I'm loving the game.
Nice. Anything else you playing?
That's about it. I've been concentrating on Days Gone.
Yeah, Days Gone. That's a game that'll command your full attention. So I fully understand that. Manny.
What have I been playing?
Yeah.
I've been playing me some Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Damn.
Yo. What you think, man?
Oh man, it's a dude. Like, you know, I know a lot of people had trepidation about that game, but
when his flips is so good.
Yeah, man.
I heard that there's some kind of game crashing.
I haven't. That shit has not crashed on me at all.
Crashed on me.
What is that? But what is it? It's like a box. They said if you open up a box, it screws up or something. There's no content in it, and it dumps you.
Oh, I know what Adam's talking about. Just quickly, quick aside. So basically, before they released the latest patch, some people found that some boxes were just opened, and you needed some items from these boxes in order to progress. But hasn't happened to me, you know. And
I got it the day before because I was a backer for the game, and I was playing. I had to stop myself from playing that shit because I got to get some work done. You know, it's a very cool game. Like, you know, if anybody had any doubts about the validity of this game, it is definitely looks cool. Like they did a really nice overhaul on all the graphics. You know, and it's a cool game. I think if you like those sorts of Metroidvania sort of games, go with this one. You know, he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, Igarashi, man.
Igarashi.
Yeah, I'm gonna jump in because I've also been playing some Bloodstained. I'm loving it, and I think I said this to Chris last night. Basically, what I like about Bloodstained is even though it's a Kickstarter game, it doesn't feel like a cheap Kickstarter game. It feels like a real, actual game. You know, like but from a big studio and stuff. Polished as fuck.
Hey,
what? What? I'm just saying, like Mighty Number 9, bro. It ain't that. You know. It ain't fucking Mighty Number 9
of Kickstarter games. I mean, Tony, that what's the one? Banner Saga.
Which one?
Kickstarter game.
Banner Saga.
Oh yeah,
you love.
But even that, I do. I haven't played Divinity. Banner Saga. Yeah.
Banner was a Kickstarter game.
Yeah. Okay,
like,
but basically, from my experience, which is Mighty Number 9, and as much as I love it, Brian, thank you for bringing up Banner Saga, feels a little cheap. You know, feels a little cheap. This one don't. This feels like a full budget game, but you know, it's fucking fantastic. And the thing, I am, you know, I've said it already. I'm tired of Metroidvania games because there's so fucking many now. This one reminds me why I love the fucking it's not a genre, but you know what I'm saying. It reminds me why I love those type of games. It's so good. Even though last night I was getting my ass kicked by Snake, Manny, you know what I'm talking about.
You're getting your ass whipped by Zengetsu.
Yeah, but I got him though. So that game's dope. Now that it's Friday, I could talk a little bit more about this. I couldn't on the ARG podcast. I've been playing some Samurai Showdown. Fucking
nice.
Yeah. It's if you like the old school Samurai Showdown, you're gonna love this. But if you're coming into this like as a Street Fighter fan, you're gonna have a rude fucking awakening. You could die in one hit, bro. Like,
dude, that's why I love Samurai Showdown.
Yeah, it is a rude, even for me, bro. And I used to play Samurai Showdown, Brett. But even this one, I'm like, oh, this is not Street Fighter. You know?
Dude, yeah. Samurai Showdown is one of those like. Match start, you're like, and I'm just gonna wait. Like you just want to like launch forward. You're like, nope, do not do that.
Well,
that game teaches you patience.
Yeah, it really does. I mean,
you have a sword in the game. If you're gonna slash somebody, yeah, you're probably gonna die if you got him the right way.
Yeah, so yeah, the game is fun, and I just gotta say this as an old school fan, I love just the intro. The intro is basically a 3D reimagining of the original intro from the first game. Like Shadow Toi, oh my fucking god! Like, you know, with the leaves coming down and what's his face? I forget. He does a slice and the tree falls down and oh my god, man, it is so good. You know, so wait for my review for that on Monday. That'll be coming out. And Bloodstained. I haven't been playing Monster Hunter, obviously. And I haven't played whatchamacallit yet, Judgment. I'm just gonna be honest, I didn't get a review code, but you know what I'm gonna do, Manny? I'll buy the shit. What, a gaming journalist buying a game to write about it? How is that possible?
I mean, to be honest, that was par for the course when we were on STFU and Play, man. Nobody sent us anything on STFU and Play days.
By the way, I need to just say this as a quick aside. I'm glad I came up that way because even nowadays, I've been getting free games for 5 years. Even now, I'm like, oh shit, they gave me a code. Like, it's a surprise because I spent so many years like not even expecting anything, you know. So that's a good way. Unlike these other fucking journals, we're not going to review the game. We didn't get a code. You know,
that's the word. I hate hearing that shit. I was like, man. Don't even acknowledge it. Then that's it. Just don't even say anything about it.
Send us a code.
If you're gonna go that, you sound like they sound real petty.
Yeah. Who was that? Kind of funny did that. It's like, oh, we didn't get a PS4 Pro, so we're not going to review it. Oh, bro, really? You use some of that Patreon money to buy one, motherfuckers. How about that? You know, yeah. So that's all I've been playing. Oh yeah, Bloodstain, so good. Oh, even though right now I'm stuck on a fucking boss again. You know. All right, Chris, man, what have you been playing lately?
Just the Contra Collection and Resident Evil. I got through a little bit of Resident Evil last night. Like I said, like going back to tank controls, dude, I get so mad. So fucking mad. Just trying to play through that game again.
So wait, what made you want to go back to play original Resident Evil?
Chris and I are playing it on the Switch.
Okay.
Re-release. And I mean, they HD'd it up well, but I'm like, all you needed to do was put a third-person camera in there. That just would have made me so happy. But playing through that, Contra, actually the reason I'm not playing Bloodstain, even though I also crowdfunded it, is because I filled out I ignored the Fangamer email. I filled out the thing late, so they're like, "Oh, it's gonna be delayed." I'm like, fuck.
Oh,
so I'm still waiting for it.
Oh, yeah. And also, if you did get it from Fangamer, like, they're not sending you the full version, like the whole, like, if you got a super edition of it, they're just sending the game now, and then you get all the other stuff later. But at least they said it. Unlike a certain site, unlike a certain Shenmue, who barely tells the backers anything, and then all of a sudden they decide to lock it down to the Epic Game Store.
Dude, I was talking about that a while back.
Just saying. I mean, like when Bloodstain, the first thing that every single, I mean, I swear we got like 100 emails from Bloodstain on different parts of the process. Even the part where before they even officially announced that they weren't going to make the Vita game, they sent an email about it like way in advance saying, "Listen, we know you guys paid for the Vita version, and unfortunately, Sony's going to be closing that down. So we're going to give you the chance to get whatever version, a Switch version, a PlayStation 4 or Xbox, PC, or if you want your money back, we'll give you your money back." That's cool. But Shenmue, unfortunately, they're like, okay, so they said it was going to be on Steam, but now they made that Epic Game Store deal, and they're not giving any sort of refunds.
Nope. They denied it all.
Yeah.
Oh, they didn't just not give refunds. They gave a straight up, "Fuck you, we're not giving you a refund."
Go fuck yourself.
And to be honest, like, the thing is that, like, it's not Yu Suzuki's company that's actually handling. It's this one company that has been known to be kind of shitty with this stuff. And
Deep Silver.
No, it wasn't Deep Silver.
No, it was Deep Silver because they're also the guys that did the Metro thing. They also published Metro, and same thing happened to them.
Yeah.
It seems like Deep Silver are just fucking up now. Like,
no, don't tell me that.
I feel like the reason why my guess is the reason why Yu Suzuki's company decided to do the Epic Game Store thing is because I know when you do that sort of deal, there's a little bit more extra support for Unreal games that they get, and maybe the reason why they did it is because Shenmue's an Unreal game, and maybe they can get a little bit of extra something off. But at the same time, it's like, everybody, what about all the PC players that just signed on to do it on Steam? And then when you get the PC version of the game, what you get is you get a code, like the physical edition, you just get a code.
Yep.
So here's my question to you guys. Because when I heard about this, I heard a lot of people basically saying their response to the saying that there's not going to be a refund for the game was to issue chargebacks. And it was actually getting a small discussion going about how, if you do get issued too many chargebacks as a company, they start a fraud investigation. Thoughts? Mostly Chris. I want to hear Chris's thoughts on this.
Yeah, I want to hear Chris's thoughts.
Me, it is fraud. You're defrauding your backers, I think. So here's the problem. Like, they came out and admitted that Epic gave them such a lucrative amount to be an exclusive that they didn't even need the backers. So at that point, my reply would be like, okay, so you owe everyone a refund then. if you don't need their money. Don't come out and say that shit and then deny people refunds. If people bought it for for it being on Steam, then that's false advertising.
Yep.
To start with, yeah. So they should be investigated for fraud.
Yeah, like the thing is, it's like, number one, you say something is going to go one way, and then you don't do like what Bloodstain did, where they were like, okay, yeah, we can't offer this thing, unfortunately, but at least they gave you an option. If you wanted to pull out, then you can pull out. But this is like, no, you can't do it. What they said. You know, it's like why are you're supposed to be trying to get the good faith of the people that are doing this stuff. Okay, yes, you decided to make the Epic Game Store the decision, but why wouldn't you give people back their money if that's not what they signed up for?
Greed.
That's exactly it is, greed.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, how do you make this decision and not even consider that you're like, oh, we're gonna get away with it? It's like, how do you do that?
And the thing is, the worst part of it is they didn't tell the backers before this happened.
Yeah, it's fucked up, man.
But then again, the Shenmue project, and just say its communication is a lot more spotty than Bloodstain. I feel like I got way more bloodstained Bloodstained communications than I did Shenmue ones. And Shenmue ones are just bullshit stuff where it's like, hey, Yu Suzuki is showing the game behind closed doors. Yeah, big whoop. I fucking paid for this thing. You should be sending me a demo like they did with Bloodstain. We got 2 demos on that thing. We got the first ship demo, and then we got the later demo. And they even apologized that they couldn't provide it on the platform that we originally you got it for. So, like, in other words, okay, I paid for PS4. They're like, yeah, unfortunately, we're not, because this is an early demo build, we only have a PC version.
Damn.
Come on, guys.
That's crazy. All right, Chris, any other games you playing?
No, that's it right now.
All right, Carlos.
No, that's it right now.
Nothing.
Right. You're playing Bloodstained.
other than chess, and I bought Adam's favorite game now. What's it called?
My friend Pedro.
Rockstar table tennis.
Yeah, that's for life. That game. That's for life. So I hope one of Arcade want to make a freaking Rockstar table tennis. That'd be badass.
Yeah, I was gonna say Papo and Yo. No, it's a Pedro game, right?
Yeah, it's the Pedro game. I bought that. And I'm thinking about buying Bloodstain.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
the game is good.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, it is a fun game. Like once you get like the first level's really really well done, and it's just like the what's going to be next sort of thing. You kind of get that, and it was like, oh man, I'm going through here. I haven't been to this part. Oh, what's gonna happen? Stuff like that.
Yeah, it's like one more. Let me get to that save. Let me get to that save room.
Save, yeah.
All right.
That first boss wrecked my ass.
Nah.
The giant
titty girl, whatever her name was.
Titty girl.
Whoa.
Yeah. Man, that's the second time we're talking about titties tonight, man.
There goes our monetization.
Right?
On the mind.
All right, Brian, what you been playing, man?
I've actually not been playing anything this week. It's been anime week for me.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah, anime.
Like some Carlos bait right there.
Talk about that.
I've been waiting for My Neighbor Pedro, and that's about it. But now it's out, so I'm gonna get that and play it, and then maybe play some Monster Hunter with these guys.
Nice. Ooh.
Oh, excuse me.
Excuse me. All right, Brett, what have you been playing lately?
By the way, it's my friend Pedro, not my neighbor Pedro.
Yeah, okay, friend.
Yeah.
What the hell am I thinking about then?
Maybe you couldn't.
Yo, Brian's playing something else I hasn't even released yet. Right?
Damn, he got the uncut edition.
Why is Pedro a giant cat?
Right, Brett, go ahead.
Why is Pedro answering about? Sorry, why is Pedro getting a pizza delivered and he has no money? It's so weird.
You know,
No one gets the reference. Okay, cool. You guys are either just liars or you don't know.
Sorry, Brian. I wish I could have your back on this one, but
yeah, apparently I just don't know.
I went over my head. I have no idea.
It's a no for me, dog.
It's got to be a British joke. I don't know.
Oh damn! It's a cultural thing.
All right. Anyway, I will try this again. Brett, what have you been playing lately, sir?
Nothing this week, man.
I'm surprised by that.
I know. It's been a busy week. I've been redoing a room as a favor to a friend. Surprise. I can talk about it on here. My fucking sister goes to this shit. Redoing a game room for my sister.
Ooh.
So we got a pool table, and then just hitting thrift stores and fucking clearance sections. Like managed to put together a couch with a couple ottomans, or like a layback with a couple ottomans, a bunch of pillows to make like a huge fucking pit. And got dartboards, and the pool table transforms into tabletop tennis.
Whoa!
Adam is like, why haven't you invited me over yet?
Just saying, have you come out and get tattooed?
It might happen this summer. That's what I want to do.
Wait, yeah, Adam, weren't you gonna?
Yeah, I'm still.
He's gonna say Gears of War tattoo on his ass, right?
Just gotta put it back. I got the Gears.
Yeah, so you get to experience it, man. There you go. Yeah. By the way, quick thing. I just learned what ottomans were like 4 years ago. Before that, when people said that, I was like, "Oh, I bought some ottomans." I'm like, how do you buy a person from the Ottoman Empire? How do you buy that?
They're people. You can't own people.
That's what I was like, what the fuck?
Wait, so could you enlighten me on what that is?
Okay.
Go ahead, Tony.
Okay. Should I tell them what I thought an ottoman was, or
actually? No, I understood what you thought it was.
Oh, an ottoman is a piece of furniture that you like. It's like a couch. It's not a couch, but it's like rounded usually, and you put your feet on it. Like
it's a big comfy thing to put your feet on. Think a part of a couch that has no arms or back.
Yeah.
It's essentially a stool, like a footstool.
I got you.
But fluffy and nice, yeah. But again, when I first heard that, I was like, I bought some I think I was at my friend Mike's house, and his wife was telling me, he's like, I bought an ottoman. I was like, what? Because I'm thinking, like, you bought a slave? Like, what the fuck?
What are you gonna have him do this?
Yeah, and I was like, yo, the Ottoman Empire's still around? Like, what the fuck?
I thought a lot of things when I heard Ottoman, but I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Whoa. Oh, man. All right, Adam, man, we'll finish it off with you. I'm going to save you for last night because you're always playing 50 fucking games.
I play a lot of fucking games.
Like one more game.
So let's see. Of course, my friend Pedro. That's a badass game. Shit, too good. It's too good, that game. I feel like from Once Upon a Time in Mexico. It's like I got to go and kill Cook. I'm like, yo, stop this shit. One guy from Sweden make that damn game. Wow. So I've been playing that. Been playing Tetris 99. Still trying to win online. I can't do it. I can't do it.
The battle royale.
Yeah, the battle royale. It just gets addictive, man. I get closer and closer. I think I made it to like 25. I think that was it.
How does enjoying a battle royale game?
Yeah, well, for this one, yeah, I don't have to interact with people. And I just, block and attack, and you move the little stick to select what you're doing. So if I have like 4 in a row, then I'll select attack, and then I'll see it hit another person. Sometimes he gets pissed, and you see everyone starts pinging on you, and like, oh shit. So I've been playing that one. There was something else besides, of course, Pac-Man, the arcade one-up. Been doing that with my daughter. We've been going back and forth playing Pac-Man. But there are 2 other ones that I've been playing on Switch. Damn. The NBA 2K19, they put that on there for like $2.99. So I've been playing some of that too.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was something else. I'm drawing a blank that I was playing. Shit.
Rockstar Table Tennis.
No. Oh, damn. No. Oh, the Contra. Yeah, been playing the Contra Collection, loving that. Robert Workman didn't lie with his fake news of saying that the code for the up, down, down worked, and sure enough, it did. I think what happened was I was playing the arcade version when I tried the code.
Yeah, the arcade it doesn't work on the arcade version. It doesn't work on the Konami code does not work on every single game that it didn't work on originally.
Yeah.
So yeah, you just play the original Contra. It works, and the thing is that there's also no confirmation that you got it either. Like you just do it, and then you see the next screen, and if you have the 30 lives, it'll be there. If you don't, it's not there.
Yeah, and well, in this one, once you put in, you'll see in the top corner, it just like flickers And then you'll see it as 30. I'm like, okay, so it worked. And that's what I've been playing. Been enjoying that game. And that's it. Those are the ones that I rotate around.
Nice. I'm shocked by that.
Exactly.
I actually did finish Contra because I actually got it too.
Without the 30, or you had?
No. I mean, I did it with the 30.
It's fucking impossible. I don't know anyone that can do that. It's fucking impossible.
I mean, those are speedrunners and things like that. But man, like, so I got that game because I just so happened to be working on the game. So they, Konami was really nice and sent me over the collection as well.
Nice.
Yeah. I think that's gonna do it for us. So, Mike, I want to thank you for being on tonight, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, and please plug your shit.
All right. Like I said, you can find us on the Platform Podcast on Saturday at 1 p.m. Eastern or 10 a.m. Pacific on YouTube.
Nice. And Dual Shockers, don't forget to plug them too.
All right.
And you write some stuff for them too every once in a while, don't you?
No, I don't write.
Didn't you? I thought you said you contributed to an article and like you got some pushback or something.
Oh, I helped on an article with him with the staff.
Yeah,
we're choosing the top 10 Call of Duty games.
Yeah, and they gave you shit over World at War, right?
Right.
Yeah. Why? That's not one of the better games.
To me, it's one of the best games of them all. I wanted to be number one, but
isn't that the one that introduced zombies?
World at War was the very first one to introduce zombies.
There you go.
Yeah, it was fun.
Because people were mad because that one was right after Modern Warfare, and people were like, why are we going back to World War II?
Stay in World War II all day long. I love World War II. Oh, that's fucked up to say, but I enjoy the games.
Yeah, World War I is like really gritty and dark, and like I said, I loved it.
Isn't there like you could use flamethrowers or
something?
Yeah.
Man, that's a long ass time ago, man.
Yeah, like
years.
It's crazy. All right, so that's going to do it for us. So thank you for watching and listening. Subscribe to Throwdown on SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Follow us on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook at Throwdown Show. Links are located in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco and joined by Emilio Lopez.
Bloodstained!
Chris Seeley.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Carlos Romero.
Yo, man, it really felt like 3 weeks ago I was in freaking New York, but it's only been a week.
It's crazy, man.
You miss it, right?
Crazy. Brian Manjoma.
Now people understand why people don't like Epic Games.
Oh, man. Brett Murdoch.
It's been real, party people.
Adam Vale.
Have a great week, people. Well, weekend. We're going into a weekend.
And Big Mike.
It's good. Thank you for having me on the show, and have a great weekend, everybody.
All right,
by
guys.
the way, Mike.
Oh.
Yo, Mike, you good, man?
Excuse me?
You good? Yeah. Yo, Mike, you ready for that Monster Hunter, man?
Oh, I'm ready. I already got it downloaded, ready to go, man.
Fuck it, let's go. All right, guys. So remember, we're going to be on Monster Hunter this weekend. Check us out. It's going to be a lot of fun. Later.
Peace.
Latest.
Later, guys.
Peace.